listening to the Fifth Down Fantasy Football Podcast with Johnny Slopes
Top 3 to 5 pick next year.
and Camilla.
For the value you could have gotten at Ryan at,
I almost had 5,000 yards, but no, you don't want me. What you're saying is Wayne Gallman is the best bunches of running backs?
I guess you could say that. I guess you can put me down in the book for saying that.
We now bring you to the fifth down.
Okay, Mill. You were able to avoid my verbal lashing on the last episode because you were on vacation in Arizona. But oh, no. You're not getting off the hook that easy. The last episode that you were on, we were talking about the NFC, and you said that Cooper Kupp sucks. He's undraftable. You should completely stay away from him. And what do you do in our recent draft in one of our dynasty leagues? You draft Cooper Kupp. Blasphemy. You were going against your own advice. Do as I say, not as I do. What do you have to say for yourself?
Hey, man. All right, look, there's a certain point, and I explained this the other day, where value, it comes to a point where the value is just too good to pass up, or like the upside is too good to pass up. Because when, it was like late in the rookie draft, and I was just kind of like looking at the other names, and there was like Leonte Carew, who's probably going to get cut, and like all these other shitty names, and I was like Cooper Kupp, and pretty much everybody in that league didn't want Cooper Kupp either. It seemed like I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to take him, and then I'll see what happens, and I maybe might get some good value for him. Maybe somebody wants to trade for him, a real believer. So I drafted him with the intention of, hey, this is a shitty, like it's basically like a toss-up pick anyways, so I might as well.
It was like a fifth round.
But yeah, it was the fifth round of the rookie draft, so I was like, I can accept Cooper Kupp for that, and I do agree. I don't like the kid. I don't think he's going to have a good pro career. But at the same time, hey, I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time, So it might match up. Yeah, I got 2 offers for him already, but I didn't find anything that was like worth it because they wanted like him and somebody else for another player, and I didn't really like it.
Do you resent the pick?
Not where I got him. I would have definitely resented if I got him like sooner. But I wouldn't have been stupid enough to do that. Like I honestly didn't want to take him, but I was looking at who was left, and I was like, shit, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I took him.
I couldn't believe it when you did it. In case
I know, dude, all we do is bash him. All we do is bash him, but I just, I couldn't pass it up.
In case you haven't figured it out yet, you're listening to the Fifth Down Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Slopes, and with me is my partner in crime, K-Mill.
Yo.
You can follow him on Twitter at KMill5thDown, and we have Casey on as well.
Hey, how's it going?
Meet you finally.
Yep, nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah, you can follow him on Twitter at Fantasy S Central, and you can also follow us on Twitter at FifthDownFF. K-Mill, I'm sorry for giving you a hard time about the Cooper Kupp pick.
Hey, that's okay, man. It was well-deserved, and I knew I was going to get shit as soon as I did that pick. I was like, Johnny will never let me hear the end of this, so, I'm glad to get that out of the way.
How was your vacation?
Oh, man, it was awesome. It was, like, something that was just, like, I wish that it could just be like that forever, but obviously you have to come back to reality, and but it was nice while it lasted, definitely, and it makes me just ready to move to Arizona right now.
I meant to tell you about when you're in Arizona. My dad was in vacation in Arizona like a week before you were there, like the day that he left that you got there.
Yeah,
and
I know that. I was fun too because I'm friends with your dad on Facebook, and I was like, oh shit. I was looking at all the fun he was having, and I had a blast too. So.
Yeah, he told me. I forgot to tell you this while you were there. He told me for you to check out like it was like a bedrock. Like museum, basically, like Fred Flintstone, like Bedrock City. I don't know. Anyways, now that we got the small talk out of the way, Casey, have you been staying busy lately?
Yeah, pretty much. It's been a busy few days. I haven't been on Twitter too much. I haven't been doing too much, but I'm glad to kind of get back in the swing of things here.
Yeah, has everyone got their cups ready?
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, I heard you went on vacation and you scored some Vicodin, or is it Valium?
Actually, I scored a little bit of both. So I got I had eye surgery today, so I don't have to wear glasses anymore. So that's amazing.
Well, I think it's against company policy to be doing drugs while podcasting.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? I didn't know that was policy, and I actually asked you about that because I said, hey, I'm going to be pretty high, you know. And so I'm actually not that high though. Like, so I did take a Valium this morning, and I also took a Percocet. I've actually taken 2 Percocet, but I feel fine. In fact, I feel like reinvigorated, if you know what I mean.
All right, today we're going to be going over some different draft strategies, and we're going to do, say about 6 or so rounds tonight. We each get 4 teams. The format is 12-team PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end with the flex. Sounds good?
Yep, sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. Before we get into our news and notes, though, let's get into some station identification. We are part of the BS Podcast Network. We're in the gold tier. The link is www.bspodcastnetwork.com. We are also on iTunes. If you like what we've been doing, then please let us know by dropping a review. And don't forget to subscribe. We are also on Spreaker and Stitcher for you non-iPhone users. Oh, and for the listeners that we do have, first of all, we love you. Second of all, if you guys are into talking with other fantasy minds, some other degenerates around the world, please check out www.draftingsleepers.com and join the forums. Pretty much pick people's brains. You can join up. It's free. It's a social network for fantasy sports. So, I mean, definitely something worth checking out. All right. So, do some news and notes. Are any of you guys interested in Christine Michaels? He signed with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I'm real scared. I mean, I don't know. I mean, even a guy like Frank Gore needs depth, I guess.
Does it make you a little bit less, or a little bit more worried about maybe a guy like Marlon Mack?
Not necessarily. He wasn't really on my radar, you know, to begin this year. Anyways, I really think they're going to push Frank Gore for you know, the workload, and you know, it's just going to kind of. I think Christine Michaels is going to be a change of pace, maybe even less than that.
Have you guys seen what Sammy Coates' finger looks like after it healed?
No, I have not.
It looks crooked as fuck. I don't know if he can catch a ball.
Well, he couldn't beforehand, so you know what's changed.
Yeah.
I know I was talking a little bit about, or before the show started with Casey. Are you all concerned about Carlos Hyde not really showing well during OTAs? It looks like he was the slowest running back and the most indecisive one. He was kind of struggling with their scheme.
It doesn't really surprise me because he's a guy that I really the last couple of years have tried to avoid in fantasy drafts for not that reason, because when he has played, he's looked pretty good, but the thing is you just can't keep him on the field. He can't stay healthy. And to hear that he's ineffective just is another reason for me to stay away from him more. But he's a guy that kind of is never really on my radar.
All right. Ty Montgomery is bulking up to 220. Casey, are you a believer in Ty Montgomery?
I mean, I want to be. I think he's going to be pretty good. I don't know. There's not like a ton of hype around him. There's some people I've heard that are real excited. I think he's going to be pretty good. I don't think he's going to get a ton of touches just because the Packers really don't run the ball that much. But you never know. I mean, they might do it more now that he's had some time under his belt at running back. But if I had to guess, I'm going to guess we don't use him that much. I mean, he could be a steal for somebody because he could end up being a really good starter, but I'm probably going to stay away from him. But that may just because he's a Packer and I see him all the time, and I tend to stay away from my own team.
All right.
You know, I kind of power more because I'm a Broncos fan and I try to stay away from the Broncos in the draft too.
We know how you feel about Ty Montgomery, K-Mill.
Yeah, lock him in as an RB2.
All right, let's power through some of this right here. Julio Jones sitting out of OTAs. He had foot surgery March 6th, so that's not a surprise. Any of you guys excited about Victor Cruz going to Chicago? Kind of like another blah signing.
Yeah, not really.
Good to note, though, Danny Woodhead and Ryan Tannehill both had no restrictions during OTAs after tearing their ACL, so that is good news. Matt Asiata signing with Detroit, I think that pretty much threatens only Zach Zenner to this point. I think that they're going to be fighting for a roster spot, so we'll be sure see how that shakes out, because whoever gets that role is going to have a goal line role in that offense, I do believe. Are you guys buying Deshaun Kaiser as the starter for the Browns?
I don't know how I feel about Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, I guess it's going to be an open competition for sure, but I really don't like the guy, so I'm going to say no.
I mean, what does this mean for the rest of their offense?
It means that they're
We'll give that one to Casey.
I mean, I don't really know. I would think they would just go ahead and start Kessler, but I think it's not really going to do too much to the offense either way. No matter who's the quarterback, I don't really like any of the options that much.
Agreed.
Not to depress you guys any more than you already are after talking about the Browns, but Josh McCown's expected to be the Jet starter.
That's right.
Until you guys hear about Deion Lewis's role is expected to be reduced. Does that mean they're going to use more of like James White in the passing game?
I mean, there's no surprise there. I mean, they went out this offseason, and it's such a crowded backfield. They got LeGarrette Blount back. They have Rex Burkhead and James White, who's taking on an increased role for probably his Super Bowl performance and his playoff performance. So it's really not surprising that Deion Lewis's role is shrinking, and he's a guy that I really like, so I'm kind of disappointed by that news. But the Patriots, yeah, they just look like stacked on every position.
If you look at their contract situation, Deion Lewis does look like he's in the worst situation out of Burkhead and James White. So I would not surprise me if his role is either reduced or if even he ends up being cut. That would not surprise me either.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
I know, Casey, we were talking a little bit about Corey Coleman's already suffered a minor undisclosed injury. What I heard was Brock Osweiler threw him the ball, and he actually caught it, but fell down, and I guess like the ball hit his chest or his gut or something like that. It doesn't look like he looks like he'll be out for a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't. It might not be meant to be with the Browns for him to be as good as people might have thought he could have been.
Yeah, that's usually
right.
the case with the Browns, but I actually do like Corey Coleman a lot. Like I was really thinking about him coming into this year and redraft leagues as like a sleeper candidate, but really, no Browns are draftable this year, really.
He could be in a position though to get a lot of targets. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but he has to stay healthy.
True.
Like he even had some little bit of nagging injuries in college too. So, are you guys ready to start our mock draft?
Do it.
All right, Keegan, you're on the clock. You have the first overall pick. Who are you going with?
It's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to take Stedman Bailey. No, I'm just kidding. This really is, though, a no-brainer for me. If I'm picking anybody at the top, my love for David Johnson is well-known, so I'm taking David Johnson, number one overall. I was lower.
Yeah, with my second team here, or my first team here, second overall, I think I'm going to take like a best player approach towards this draft position, and I'm going to take Le'Veon Bell. I feel like he gives me the best chance to score the most points in this round.
Solid.
Well, I figured those were the two that y'all would pick. I imagined I was going to have to choose between Zeke and Antonio Brown, and I thought a lot about it, and I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Antonio Brown. It's a PPR league. I just think that's just going to be too valuable, his receptions this season. And I just think I'm going to go ahead and just take him, and I may regret it later in the season, but right now I'm going to go ahead and go with AB.
Don't regret it. You got a great player. But I'm at the 4th spot. It's back to Johnny's team. And I think being at the 4th spot is my favorite spot in the entire draft because you got a lot of flexibility picking at the 4th spot. You're either getting one of the top 3 running backs or you're getting a top receiver. The top receiver, I think, just happened to leave the board. It means Zeke is wide open for me here at number 4, so I'm going to gobble him up. Well, I'll take him. He has a nice body.
Yeah, this is another hard one. It's between Julio and ODB for me, and I think Julio is better, but just something that my gut's telling me to go with Odell Beckham. Brandon Marshall could screw that up for me, but I'm going to go ahead and pick ODB here. I think Julio could be hurt losing Kyle Shanahan.
Well, you know what?
That's kind of interesting take you have on Beckham.
Yeah, I actually like that, but I have the opposite mentality, and I'm actually glad at picking at 6 that you took OBJ because I want Julio, so I'm penciling me in for Julio.
Yes, picking at the 6th spot, Julio ends up falling right into your laps. I like that. And Keegan, you also have the 7th pick overall as well.
I do, and I always love picking from the 7 hole, and I think this is a no-brainer for me too. I know LaShawn McCoy is there, but I like Evans, man. He honestly, I consider it the big 4 now at receiver, and he's part of the big 4, so I'm going to take Evans, no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a great pick because, at 7th overall, you're getting a guy that could potentially finish 1st overall.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to go McCoy there. For this pick, I'm going to go ahead and pick A.J. Green. I do like McCoy, but I think A.J. Green's probably going to have a little better season. I don't really like McCoy at 8 there. If I had a couple picks down, I might take him, but I think A.J. Green's the best available at this spot.
Yeah, I think I do about the same if I were in that position.
Well, so I was kind of hoping that A.J. Green was not going to get picked there, but since he did, I feel very strongly about McCoy this year. I think he's going to get a pretty decent workload. He doesn't have a lot of competition over there. I am going to take LaShawn McCoy at number 9.
That's pretty solid, I think. I can't fault you there. But he is getting up there in age. That's really my only red flag. But other than that, he's an absolute workhorse. So
it's hard to pass up a workhorse back at this point. I could have gone Melvin Gordon there, but that's probably the only other running back I'd probably take there.
Yeah, and that's why this number 10 pick's really hard for me because now I have to choose between Melvin Gordon and Devontae Freeman. And this is tough because, I was a real Devontae Freeman downer last year. I was really low on him. I was like, this is not going to be a good pick. He's going way too high. And I ended up being wrong. And, he had back-to-back, 2,000 yards from scrimmage seasons. He's an absolute monster. I think I'm going to have to take Freeman here.
That is solid. That'll lead me to my 11th pick. Here, if my 11th pick, I do believe in the potential of Jordy Nelson here at 11, so I'm going to take him.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I knew how the top 11 was going to shake out. I'm glad that because I've got the 12th pick, and I was hoping someone would fall to me. So I'm going to take Melvin Gordon there. I like Melvin Gordon this season. I was a little surprised by him last season. It's funny, I'd actually already wrote Melvin Gordon for your pick because I assumed that's who you were going to pick, but I'm happy he fell to me. And I guess I've got the next pick too. So
I just feel like after Jordy Nelson, I feel like there's a bit of a step off towards the wide receivers, and that's kind of what influenced me in that pick. I feel the same thing about Melvin Gordon, but I'm kind of gambling that your next pick is not going to be who I think it's going to be.
Yeah, well, this next pick, if I'm going by ADP, it'd be Michael Thomas, but I'm not feeling him this year as much as I am T.Y. Hilton. So I like getting Gordon and T.Y. Hilton back-to-back for this team. So I'm going to go ahead and go with him.
Wow. It's
reaching a little bit, but I feel like he's going to do better than Howard, Murray, and Ajayi.
I'm going to go ahead and pair my Jordy Nelson with a Dez Bryant. I do believe in Dez Bryant. I think that he's going to see a healthier set of targets this year, and I'm banking on Dak Prescott taking that next step up when I make this pick.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Good.
It's your pick,
All right.
Keegan.
All right, so it's back to the top. And you know what? I really don't see what you guys are seeing with Michael Thomas. Brandon Cooks is out of the equation, so you can pencil me in for Michael Thomas there.
I like the pick there. That is a nice one. I see your Michael Thomas, and I raise you a DeMarco Murray as my next pick. To pair up McCoy with DeMarco Murray, I feel like I have two backs that could potentially have a 3-down role. I do know, obviously, there's some concerns about DeMarco Murray because of Derrick Henry, but I don't necessarily think that DeMarco Murray is quite done yet this year.
I agree with you.
He has everything that you would want in a guy that you would take in the first round.
Yeah, and he's on a team that utilizes him properly, too, to his strengths, so I like that pick.
It doesn't hurt that he has a good offensive line. Casey, you have your second pick at the 8th spot.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. This is I'm going to pair up with A.J. Green. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a running back here because I feel like I can get another good receiver later on. I'm not the biggest believer in Jordan Howard, but I'm going to go who I think is probably the best available. I thought about reaching for Todd Gurley, but I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Jordan Howard.
That's not a bad pick. I like that he didn't go as early in this draft that I've seen him going in other drafts towards like the very front of the second round or the late first round. So that's nice to see that his ADP is coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, Keegan, you're up next.
All right. So, well, I've already got Julio on this team. T.Y. Hilton.
This is Mike Evans. Mike Evans' team.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yep, you are right. So a lot of other receivers. I like to pair him with another good receiver, but there is a steep drop off right now. I'm looking at least a guy like Amari Cooper, and I think that the upside with Ajayi or Gurley is just too good to pass up here. And according to ADP, Ajayi is going higher, and I am really tempted, even though he fell off a little bit last season. I'm very tempted to take him here because I'm really not sold on Todd Gurley in the Rams offense, but I'm going to go ahead and take Gurley.
All right, we will pencil you in for Gurley, and you're up back-to-back here.
Yeah,
you got the 7th spot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm writing this down as I go. And then for my other team, I have Julio already, so I think I'm going to do a very similar approach, and I think I'm probably just going to take an Ajayi just based on this team probably doesn't have a running back yet. Ajayi can be a real bell cow. Adam Gase has already sold on him. I could also take Gronkowski here, but I'm just really I don't like drafting guys with huge injury risks and injury histories, so I'm going to take Ajayi.
All right, Casey, that brings you up to your second pick with the 5 spot. You have Odell Beckham to go with. Who are you going to take next?
Yeah, I've got someone. I thought about go ahead and pair him with another wide receiver, and I think that is what I'm going to do. I don't really like any of the running backs coming up this high, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Amari Cooper, and I like having Amari Cooper and Odell Beckham as my wide receivers. I can worry about the running backs later.
You're really hoping for some more red zone targets, huh?
Yeah.
All right, with the 4 spot that I'm picking here, I already have Zeke, and I'm looking for a wide receiver, and I was a little bit disappointed to see Amari Cooper go right before me. That's who I was aiming for. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Brandon Cooks here. I am a Brandon Cooks believer this year. I think that in that offense, it fits him like a glove. I think it's a pretty solid pick late in the second round.
Yeah, I like that pick. That's probably who I would have gotten right there. I've got to pair someone up with Antonio Brown. I guess I could go Gronk here, or I think I'm between Lamar Miller and Gronk. Gronk, I think, is just a little too high for me right here. I'm worried about his injuries. And I think Lamar Miller could be a pretty good value pick here, considering how high he went last year and the amount of carries he got. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Lamar Miller. Do what?
Was there any wide receivers that you're considering there?
No, the only person, DeAndre Hopkins is there and Doug Baldwin, but I still feel like I can find a receiver a little later, and I've already got Antonio Brown, so I feel comfortable. Go ahead and get Lamar Miller.
Well, picking out of the 2 spot, I have Le'Veon Bell. I am extremely happy that Gronk has fell here. I feel very strongly pairing him with Bell. I know they're both injury risks. This team is going to take a little bit of a risk for a lot of an upside here. I feel very comfortable with those 2 pairing, though.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of pissed he took Gronk here because this is a position where I would kind of be comfortable drafting him. I wouldn't want to draft him like top of the second, but late second, early third round. If Gronk falls there, that's my sweet spot for him. So good pick there. I like that. I'm not really feeling DeAndre Hopkins for obvious reasons. He's a guy I'm trying to avoid in a lot of fantasy drafts. So I got a real decision on my hands. Do I take a guy like Doug Baldwin, or do I take a guy like Keenan Allen, who has played less and less every year of his career? I think I'm just going to go with Doug Baldwin. He's got a good rapport with Russell Wilson, and he's had good touchdown totals both of his last couple seasons. So I think I'm going to take him here.
That's not a bad pick, or not a bad pick at all. I mean, he's a very consistent guy. I mean, he is underrated every year. What did he finish, like wide receiver 7 last year?
Yeah, exactly. He's always underrated, and I'm actually a Doug Baldwin hater. I'm actually just a Seahawks hater, but the value is just too good to pass up here. I think that he could definitely. I think in my mind, he's easily a top 10 receiver this year.
All right. Now you're coming back onto the turn here in the third round. Who are you looking for here to go with DJ and Baldwin?
Yeah, DJ and Baldwin. And then again here, I still am at kind of a dilemma. There's Aaron Rodgers sitting there. I'm not a fan of taking quarterbacks early, so I'm going to go ahead and pass on him. But you know what? I think that this one's really hard. I'm probably just going to end up taking Hopkins because he's sitting there.
Are you believing that he can have a bounce-back season?
I am not sold on him having a bounce-back season, but I am I think if I get him right about here, I think this is a pretty good value for him. If he can return to, what he was, or if he just gets peppered with targets, I believe that he can absolutely put up big numbers.
I'm a little bit surprised that you picked Hopkins over Allen Robinson. I think I have more faith in Allen Robinson than I do in DeAndre Hopkins to have a bounce-back season.
You see, man, it was between those two, and the only reason I didn't take A-Rob was because, Blake Bortles is just erratic as ever, and I really don't think that he can get the job done either. So I'm like,
I don't know. I really don't know who Houston's quarterback is going to be. Is it going to be Watson or is it going to be Savage?
That's true, and I feel more comfortable with either of those two than I do of
with Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles. Yeah, because Tom Savage actually, DeAndre Hopkins' numbers actually got better with Savage at the helm, so I feel pretty comfortable with taking Hopkins about here.
Well, coming with the 2 spot here early in the third round, I have Bell, I have Gronk. I am very excited. I'm going to keep going with my strategy here, taking the best available. I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers here. And to me, in my opinion, this is a 3-headed monster that could win you a league. Having Bell, Gronk, and Aaron Rodgers all on your team, that's a potential of 90 points a week right there.
That's
on a good week.
Not a good week.
Yeah, you took my strategy that I was going to work with for this next team because I was going to I don't like picking quarterbacks early and I don't like picking tight ends early. So I was going to do both on this team, but picking Rodgers kind of messes that up for me. So this team, I've already got Antonio Brown and Lamar Miller. Gosh, this is tough. I like Leonard Fournette there, but I really don't know. I'm probably gonna have to take a running back here just because when I'm picking again, I really don't like any of the players I see here. So I'm gonna go with my gut here and pick Marshawn Lynch, even though I don't like him in a PPR as much. I think he's gonna have a better season than Leonard Fournette, and I feel like I need to go ahead and get a running back here.
He could have a Latavius-like season and be just fine.
Yeah.
Wow. See, yeah. I mean, and I like your guts on this one, but I don't think there's any way I'm taking Marshawn in any league. I just think he represents way too much risk. But I kudos to you, man.
Yeah. With this next pick, I have the 4 spot. I have Zeke and I have Cooks. I'm not totally sold on Cooks being a number 1 receiver, like PPR top 12. He very well may be, but on the off chance that maybe he does get a little bit lost in that offense, I'm going to get some insurance policy behind him, and I'm going to take a guy that I'm very happy that he fell here is Allen Robinson. I'm not afraid of Blake Bortles. I think that they'll both be a little bit better this year, although we all know he's the king of the mop-up time. That's basically what you're hoping for with Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I kind of saw that pick coming from you. At this spot, I've already got Odell Beckham and Amari Cooper, so I'm not going to go receiver here. Leonard Fournette has fallen to me a little bit, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take Fournette here. He's fallen a couple picks, so I like having, since I've already got two good receivers, I like shoring up my running backs a little bit.
Are you at all concerned about his offensive line?
I mean, yeah, but I just think he's too good. And I was reading things about how they're just really impressed with him so far. And so I think, and imagine, obviously he's behind a much, much worse offensive line than Ezekiel Elliott. But, I mean, you saw how high Zeke went last year. He was going like 5 or 6 in most drafts. So I think getting Leonard Fournette in the middle of the third round isn't too bad.
I personally love that pick, man. I'm a huge Fournette fan. I think that he's going to be the next big thing. I hate the Jaguars, but I think that it's not going to matter. I think he's just too good to pass up. I think that we're looking at like this year's version of Zeke. I think even with all those negative factors, I think he's going to have a great season.
All right, Keegan, you're up here at the 3-6 spot.
Yeah, this one's actually I like this who I have here. So I have Julio and I have Jay Ajayi already. So I feel pretty comfortable. I'm going to stay with my strategy and keep it kind of a balanced team. I'm not going to really front load it or back load it. I'm going to take Alshon Jeffrey here. I like what he represents, and I like in this new system with the Eagles. Carson Wentz, he had a really fast start last year. He kind of fell off at the end. But that was with, his number one receiver being Jordan Matthews. So I like Alshon Jeffrey on this team. I think that Carson Wentz can really take a big step forward with him. And I think that Alshon Jeffrey, he's essentially playing on a one-year proven contract. So he's going to want to show the best face that he possibly can. So I think he can put up monster numbers this year.
It'll be kind of interesting to see who else you have at receiver here, because you got Julio Jones, who can get some nagging injuries. You got Alshon Jeffrey that can get some nagging injuries. I think maybe you might want to get some insurance policy behind them as well.
Yeah, I'm taking a chance on this team. Especially with
you pretty much got 3 guys that could all go down right there.
Yeah, you do, and that's it's like what your first team was. It's representing big risk, big reward. If it works out. And I'm actually drafting next too, so I got Mike Evans and Todd Gurley on this team, and this is an area where one really has to think here, because according to ADP, you got Tom Brady sitting there. I don't want that. As quarterbacks get up in age, I know Tom Brady's great and everything, but I think he represents too much risk for where he's going. You got Spencer Ware, Demaryius Thomas. I think I'm a believer in the werewolf. I'm going to take Spencer Ware here. That kind of completes my my running backs. Got Todd Gurley, and I got Spencer Ware.
Can that be his nickname from now on?
The werewolf? I like it. Let's take it.
All right, Casey, you're up at the 3-8 here. You got A.J. Green and Jordan Howard.
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of flexibility here. Keenan Allen's really fallen, so that's a tempting pick right there. I'm worried about his injuries. But at some point you just kind of got to go for the value and say screw the injuries. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pick Keenan Allen here.
I like the upside you got there. Four spots past his ADP of 304. That's a good spot for him. My next pick, I have LaShawn McCoy and DeMarco Murray already on my team, and I'm looking at this is a team that I want to have a lot of good running backs here. I want to go robust running back. The goal is to draft as many running backs early and often acquire as many high-volume running backs as possible on your team. The fundamentals behind it do make sense, in a sense that you want like the high-volume running backs early because there's usually a steep step-off. But I'm looking here. I'm not excited about some of the running backs here on the board, and I'm going to take a wide receiver for this team, one that I believe in. And I'm going to take Demaryius Thomas for them as my wide receiver 1. He has wide receiver 1 appeal. He's usually going to finish as a wide receiver 2, though, so you're going to look for someone else to pair up with him.
Most definitely. I like it. I can dig it.
All right, Keegan, you're up here at the 310. You got Freeman. You have Michael Thomas. What's your game plan here?
This is actually I'm really going to be satisfied with this pick. So I'm picking from the 10th spot, Devontae Freeman, Michael Thomas, as you said. I'm looking at guys like Jarvis Landry and Devontae Adams. They're not really doing it for me. I think I could get a better value at receiver later. I'm going to take Kelsey, I'm sorry. So, he took a big step forward last year, absolute beast. I'm going to take him. I'm very confident.
You think he took a step forward last year? He was only the tight end 1 of the season. I like the pick.
Exactly.
He's deserving of tight end 2.
Most definitely.
And that was a guy that I was looking for here for this next pick here. But since he is taken here, I have Jordy Nelson. I have Dez Bryant. I'm going to continue the trend here. And I'm going to take Jarvis Landry. I don't want to pair Nelson up with Devontae Adams. I do like his touchdown upside. What a better team to be touchdown dependent in than Green Bay. But I'm not going to put my all my eggs in that basket. I'm going to take Jarvis Landry here.
Yeah, that's probably who I would have went with this pick. There's really not anybody I love sitting here. You've got Carlos Hyde, Terrell Pryor, Isaiah Crowell, Jordan Reed. I don't like Devontae Adams that much. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and I've got already got Melvin Gordon and T.Y. Hilton, so I think I'm going to have to go ahead and snag Tom Brady here. He's fallen a few spots, so I like him here. I've got another pick coming up, so I think go ahead and get a good quarterback like that. Yeah, there's no one I love, so that makes it a little easier.
That's kind of the advantage of picking at the end here. You get the luxury of taking a guy like Tom Brady right there at the end because you have another pick coming up.
Yeah, and I'm really not high on Devontae Adams. I'm not. And like I said earlier, I've got Melvin Gordon and T.Y. Hilton on this team. So I think I'm going to go ahead and since I got a good quarterback out of the way, I'm going to go ahead. This is really hard. I'm trying to decide between Carlos Hyde and Terrell Pryor, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Carlos Hyde. I think he can work it out in that offense. He's got a new head coach, and it might take a little bit, but he's got a head coach that's going to love to run the ball, and I don't really think Terrell Pryor is going to be that great this season, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with Carlos Hyde.
Interesting pick. And he comes back here to me at the 402 here, and I already have 3 wide receivers, and now I'm liking Sammy Watkins as my 4th wide receiver here. I think he's fallen enough for me to want to pull a shot. I'm taking a little bit of a reach here to get him, but I just love his upside as my 4th wide receiver.
Not bad.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I do think there's a bit of a reach, but I can't fault you for it because I'm a big Sammy Watkins fan. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. However, I tend to disagree with you guys. Well, actually, I don't know how you feel about this, Johnny, but I think that Terrell Pryor is going to have a very nice season this year. I'm a huge Kirk Cousins fan, and he's obviously proven himself. Like last year, I was like, this is his prove-it year, this and that, and he's done it every single year since he's been getting starter reps. He's been doing it. Terrell Pryor is going to get number 1 reps. I love the pick here.
Yeah, and my last pick, it was between Sammy Watkins or Terrell Pryor. The reason why I picked Sammy Watkins over Terrell Pryor is I think he has a higher week-to-week upside than Terrell Pryor, but Terrell Pryor is the safer pick there.
Most definitely.
All right, and it's gonna come back to me here. I have McCoy, I have DeMarco Murray, and I have Demaryius Thomas. I'm looking to gobble up as many running backs as I can here. I'm taking Isaiah Crowell. He's a guy that could potentially have a 3-down role in that offense. He had 40 receptions last year, which kind of still blows my mind. How he was able to average 4.8 yards a carry behind that team still confusing me. I do like his potential with even better offensive line this year.
I can dig it.
I've got the pick now. This team, I've already got two pretty good receivers. I've got A.J. Green and Keenan Allen, and I've got Jordan Howard at running back. Devontae Adams is falling to me here, but I think I'm going to let him fall a little more just because I'm just really not feeling him, and I've already got two good wide receivers on this team. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get, since I like my skill position players, and I think I can find a decent running back later, I'm going to go ahead and pick Drew Brees here.
You're believing in the Brees. I think that he could end up being a guy that be the number one receiver or number one quarterback this year.
Yeah, I like him a lot this year.
All right, Keegan, it's coming to you here at the 406. You have Evans, you have Gurley, and you have Ware. What's your game plan for this pick?
This is actually, I was thinking about this too, and I almost forgot that Devontae Adams was sitting there. And I've only got Mike Evans on this team, so I'm looking at receiver here, and I'm thinking I'm going to take Adams. I was looking at Tyreek Hill. I really like the kid. I think that he's kind of a bit too early for where I want to take him. I think he's going a little too high for his ADP. But yeah, I'm going to take Adams.
All right, nice pick. Like I said, I do think that he could still have potential to have double-digit touchdowns this year. So it's a pretty good pick in the fourth round as your second receiver.
Most definitely.
And then you have another pick here. You have Julio and Jeffrey as receivers. You have Jai as your running back. Are you going to continue the wide receivers, or are you going to balance it out here?
Yeah, I think I'm going to just keep my balance strategy, and I'm a huge believer in Christian McCaffrey, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take McCaffrey here.
That's a good pick. I like him.
All right. So let's see. On this team, I've got Fournette, Odell Beckham, and Amari Cooper, so I'm good at receiver. I probably would have taken Tyreek Hill if I was a little more in need of a receiver. But I think I'm going to go ahead. Jordan Reed's still sitting there, but he just worries me so much with his injuries. And I think I like Greg Olsen a little more than Jordan Reed. I hate to pick him ahead of him. I'd rather just let Greg Olsen fall. This is so hard. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and pick Jordan Reed, though, just because I think Greg Olsen could still fall. I'm a little hesitant with it, but I've just got to go the best player available there.
So you went Jordan Reed?
Yeah. I kind of flip-flopped a little bit. I really couldn't decide. All
right. My next team, I have Zeke, I have Cooks, and I have Robinson. Now here, I've noticed that there's been some wide receivers off the board here. There's also been a couple of running backs. I'm looking at the next best available running back here. It's between C.J. Anderson and Tevin Coleman. I'm not I'm real high on either one, really, to be honest. And I do feel like I don't have since I have a top-tier running back at this position, I can wait at running back. I'm going to go for a wide receiver, and I see you right there, Michael Crabtree. I just feel like he has yet to be outscored by Amari Cooper, and he's going in the fourth round. So I like the upside you have with him.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a nice pick. I was thinking about him as the last one. All right, so this is my team with Antonio Brown and Marshawn Lynch and Miller. So I'm gonna probably take a receiver here. Tyreek Hill is falling a couple picks here. I don't really love him this season. I'm worried he's going to have a little bit of a down year. And I do like Julian Edelman, but with the addition of Brandon Cooks, that just makes me nervous. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just go against my gut on this one and take Tyreek Hill. I don't think he's going to have a great season, but I'm going to go ahead and take him.
Yeah, he's a player that I would like to fade this year. I like to fade ultra-efficient players like that, just the fact that you have to pay for their efficiency now, and they're also not likely to repeat that efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With my next pick, I have the three-headed monster. I have Bell, Gronk, and Rodgers, but I still don't have a wide receiver. They're starting to come off the board rather fast for my liking right now. I do see Brandon Marshall. I am a little bit worried about him. I'm not a believer in Julian Edelman. I'm actually going to go Golden Tate here, just for the fact that I like his upside to catch 100 passes in a PPR setting, and he's going in the 4th round. So
I can appreciate that pick. So I guess it's on me then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm working with David Johnson, Doug Baldwin, and DeAndre Hopkins right now. I'm looking pretty good at receiver. This is hard for me, and I know that I talked to you about this, Johnny. I was like really disappointed because in one league I did select C.J. Anderson in a dynasty format, and I was kind of disappointed with that because Denver's bringing in. They're like, it's going to be an open competition. But I do like the value here for C.J. Anderson, who's a guy that in training camp could potentially run away with a 3-down position. Maybe not 3 down, but definitely a guy that could see about 15 touches a game if he gets that workhorse role. So I'm going to take a shot in the dark here late in the 4th, and I'm going to take C.J. I'm sorry.
All right. And you get to pick right here around the turn for the 5th round.
Yep. And next, I'm not really liking Brandon Marshall. I'm not really high on Tevin Coleman anymore with the emergence of Devontae Freeman finally. This is just really an impossible pick for me. I think that I'm going to just kind of I don't necessarily like this pick because of what Casey said about Brandon Cooks for that very reason, but I'm going to take Edelman here.
Rolling the dice. All right. So with my next pick, I'm looking for another receiver because obviously I'm not fine with just Golden Tate. I'm looking for a guy. Is there any other receivers that are on the board right now that have a potential to get 100 catches? And I know it's a bit of a reach to take him here at the 502 because he's going more towards the end of the 5th round. But I'm going to take Larry Fitzgerald here just because I think he has the potential to catch 100 passes just like last year in a PPR setting. That's excellent in the 5th round.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I was worried one of y'all were going to pick a tight end here. I've already got Tyreek Hill, Antonio Brown, and Tyreek Hill, Antonio Brown, Lamar Miller, and Marshawn Lynch. So I feel like I need to go ahead and take Greg Olsen off the board here. I like him at 49. I think he can be a good player this year.
He's in my eye. I've seen him.
Yeah, I like him this year. I just think Cam's going to have a bounce-back year, and he utilizes Greg Olsen a lot, and I think he could be back as the top 3 tight end this year.
All right, so now it's back to me at the 504. I have Zeke, Cook, Allen Robinson, and Michael Crabtree. I think it's time, though, to look for another running back here. I know Mark Ingram has been on the team, on the coach's shit list lately, but I'm going to take him in the 5th round. I feel like he's fallen enough for me to feel comfortable taking him here.
What? Who was that you got?
Mark Ingram.
Okay.
All right. So now that brings you back up, Casey.
Yeah. All right. This is I think I'm going to have to go best player available here. I'm not in love with any of the options, but Brandon Marshall's a year removed from being a pretty valuable fantasy player. And I don't think he's going to have a great year, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pick him here. I just think he's the best player left on the board, and he could have a really good season. You never know with him, but I feel like it's a value pick at this point.
For you to take him as your 3rd wide receiver, I'm awesome with that. That's good value.
Yeah, most definitely. So here I am, and just a question, and it sounds like a really boot thing to say, but we have one flex position in this league, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to do a very similar and we have 3 receiver slots, right?
2.
2, okay, cool. And then 2 running backs.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So here I'm really looking at best available in my eyes, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. We got Cheeseburger Egg Lacey here, and I fucking hate him. Got Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan. He was a big sleeper in my eyes last year. Doug Martin, who's actually suspended to start the year. I'm not liking that. Andrew Luck, I'm feeling is going to have an awesome year. So it's for right now, to me, it's either between Andrew Luck or Ty Montgomery. And I'm a huge fan of both of these guys. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just throw out my quarterback position right here and take Luck.
Nice pick. I really like what I've seen out of him last year. He was cutting down on his turnovers. It's something you always want to see. Hopefully, though, he could stay upright because I like what he brings to the table.
Most definitely. And I'm picking here again at number 7. This is a team with Mike Evans, Todd Gurley, Spencer Ware, and Devontae Adams, another balanced team. I'm looking at best available really here. And, with everybody that's gone, I mean, you got guys like Martavius Bryant here. Obviously, I'm not taking Martin and Lacey for obvious reasons. I'm going to take Montgomery.
Ty Montgomery, you're kind of doing a little stack there with Green Bay here. Does that concern you at all?
Not particularly. I don't feel like it's going to affect it. I think it's going to be one of the most potent offenses in the league again, so I'm really not too concerned about it.
All right, Casey, that brings you up to the 508.
All right, on this team I've already got Breeze, Jordan Howard, A.J. Green, and Keenan Allen. So I feel like I need to go ahead and get a running back because this is probably going to be the last chance I get to get a starting running back. And I don't want Eddie Lacy because I think he's going to split too many carries. I don't like Doug Martin much. I think he's probably the best running back left. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Adrian Peterson here just to go with the upside because if something happens to Mark Ingram or he just comes out and plays great, like, he's just too good of a player to pass up on, and I'd rather go with his upside than pick a player like Doug Martin.
And you as well as K-Bill, you are doing a lean stack here with Breeze and AP.
Yeah, I don't mind as much when it's my quarterback. I would like maybe to have if I was going to stack players, I would like to do it with a quarterback and receiver, but I'm fine with it being a quarterback and running back.
There's actually an article out it was published a while ago about the football guys. They did an article about stacking players like that, and they said that it's actually more consistent to have a quarterback running back combo than it is to have, or a running back wide receiver combo than it is to have a quarterback wide receiver combo.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. I could understand that just with getting touches, because I mean, like, you just look at some of these teams with Bell and Brown or Zeke and Dez, and I mean even like David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, those are just such good tandems, and they can spread the defense so much around. I could see how that would be true.
All right, and then here I've been going running back robust. I have McCoy, DeMarco Murray, and Isaiah Crowell. I have Demaryius Thomas as my wide receiver. I'm thinking though that maybe I want to take a chance here at a wide receiver since I only have one. And I'm going to take a chance on the bad boy here. I'm going to go with Martavius Bryant. I feel like he's fallen a little bit, and I can get him.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I think he's going to have a good season.
You know what? That's a huge risk pick, but man, oh man, I love the guy, and I think that he's obviously one of the most explosive players in the league. So I mean, if he can not smoke and like play to his potential, man, that's a great pick.
He's apparently been pot free for over a year, so it looks like he's doing everything he needs to do to get on the field.
We'll see. So what? Me here, right? Correct?
Yeah, you're up.
Alrighty. So picking at the 10 spot, we got Freeman, Michael Thomas, Travis Kelce, and Terrell Pryor. So I'm feeling pretty good about the balance in this team, more so than probably any of the other ones I'm drafting. This is where I'm looking at a guy like Doug Martin. I think that I'm getting him at a real value. I know that he is suspended for, I think it's the first 2 games of the season, or first 4 games. I can't remember.
Yeah, first 4.
First 4 games. But taking him here, I feel like that's pretty good value for a guy with Doug Martin's potential. He's been getting rave reviews from all the press, everybody. Jameis Winston vouched for him multiple times. And I think this is going to be probably one of the best offenses in the league this year in Tampa Bay. I really love the makeup of this team. So I think that Doug Martin, and not to mention that, if he wants to increase his stock and get other teams interested in him again, he's going to have to put up big numbers this year in a limited amount of time. So I like Doug Martin here.
Interesting pick. Kind of similar to mine. It's a little bit risky, but it could pay off in a big way. Now, with my next team, I went 0 RB. I got Jordy Nelson, Dez Bryant, Jarvis Landry, and Sammy Watkins. I'm going to start to look for some running backs here, and I had my eye on Bilal Powell. I think that, Matt Forte, he's aging, and I think they're going to look to get Powell more involved. I think they actually have him penciled in as the starter, or at least a third down back. So he's a guy that's going to catch some passes, and I could really use that as my first running back off the board.
I love that pick, man. I love that. I think that he's a guy that could actually potentially be the starter at the end of the year. So, and last year he showed flashes of brilliance, and he's a guy I've always been really high on. So, good pick.
All right, Casey, you're picking here at the turn.
I was glad to see that this was your team where you had a bunch of wide receivers taken, because the team I'm picking with, I have Brady, Melvin Gordon, Carlos Hyde, and T.Y. Hilton. And after Kelvin Benjamin, I really feel like there's a drop-off in receivers, just in terms of who I like. So I'm going to have to go with Kelvin Benjamin here. I need another receiver, so I like that pick. But he could have a really bad season, but he's been in the news so much, and people have just been killing him that maybe he'll want to prove some people wrong this season. So hopefully I'll get a good value pick here.
Picking at the 11th spot, my goal, I was looking at the ADP before the draft. I was seeing that Kelvin Benjamin was going right there around the turn. My goal was to gobble up enough wide receivers in the beginning of this draft to where I didn't have to draft him, and I was able to pass on there.
Effective strategy, my friend.
All right, so here
at the turn.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead, I think, and just I don't like Tyler Eifert here, but I could either go for my flex or I could go for my tight end here. I don't really like the tight ends after this group, after we get rid of Delaney Walker, Jimmy Graham, and Tyler Eifert. So I think this is really tough. I'm going to go ahead and just get one out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Delaney Walker. He's the third out of those three remaining tight ends, but he's just too consistent, and that's just something I love with my tight ends. And so I'm going to go ahead and go with him.
And knowing that you did not need a running back there, I felt pretty confident that Amir Abdullah would fall to me here, and I would be able to take him at the beginning of the second round. So since I am running back needy on this team, I'm going to try to take a guy that I think could have the backfield in Detroit.
Yeah, I like that pick.
I can see it, as long as you stay healthy.
Yeah.
All right, Keegan, you're up here at the 603.
Yeah, here we go. So I got a pretty balanced team, especially, and I've already got my tight end out of the way. I know we're going a little bit of a tight end run here. And with Doug Martin getting drafted by this team, I feel like I need to have a little bit of an insurance policy here, and I think that what better insurance policy than well, maybe this isn't the best insurance policy, but I'm going to take Joe Mixon here. I love the upside. I know that he's kind of a risk for off-field issues, but you got to love the upside here.
All right. I do like that pick. I think that he could eventually get the backfield to himself over there. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but it's definitely a nice pick, especially if you're in a keeper league, getting him in the 6th round. I got the pick next at the 604. I got a decent stock of running backs here. I just took my second wide receiver. I'm looking to see if I like any other receivers here, and I do spot one I like. I'm going to take Jameson Crowder. I am higher on him than most people are. He's going at the back of the 6th. I'm going to take him early in the 6th round, and that'll give me a nice third option at wide receiver.
Clown Crowder. I like it.
All right, so this team, K-Mo, you just picked Tevin Coleman, right?
No, you picked
No,
Mixon.
I didn't pick. Yeah, I picked Mixon.
Mixon, okay. You cut out there and I couldn't hear. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and pick Tevin Coleman with this team. I've already got 2 running backs that I feel good about, but, Tevin Coleman's fallen a good bit, and his PPR value is pretty good, I think, so I feel good with him here.
I can't believe how far he's fallen.
Yeah,
I wish he could go in the 6th round in real drafts.
Right? Yeah, I am very surprised. I actually totally forgot about him.
All right, Keegan, you are up here with the 606.
Yeah, and so this is there's not a lot I'm really liking here, but wait, this is the 606, isn't it?
6th round, yep.
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. I'm getting all my teams mixed up. This is my Mike Evans team, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure. All right. Yeah, so I got Evans, Gurley, Ware, and Devontae Adams and Ty Montgomery here, so I think I'm pretty solid at running back. I'm looking at a tight end here, and I think that probably best available in my eyes would be Jimmy Graham, so I'm going to go ahead and take Jimmy Graham here.
Nice pick. Be a top 5 tight end there in the 6th round.
Yeah.
All right, now you're also up here at the 607. This is with Julio Jones.
Yeah. And, with Jones, Ajayi, Jeffrey, I got Christian McCaffrey, too, and I got Andrew Luck in there. This team's also looking for a tight end, too, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just take Eifert with this team.
And that'll pretty much get your whole starting lineup right there. All right, Casey, you're up here at the 608.
All right. I really feel like I need to get a running back. I may have waited a little too long. This is a team I've only got Leonard Fournette so far. So I'm not loving the position I'm in right now for this team. And there's really not any running backs. There's not any starters left. I mean, Latavius Murray and LeGarrette Blount are down there, but those are people that I really think are going to lose a lot of carries. I'm picking, again, not too far down the road. So I think with this team I'm going to go ahead and get Cam Newton. I like him this season. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. And I'm not really trying to reach for LeGarrette Blount or Latavius Murray, so I feel comfortable. Go ahead and get my quarterback.
That's a good pick. I'm a little bit worried though about his accuracy, but I think that maybe had a lot to do with the schedule last year. They had a lot of tough matchups, so we'll look for him to have a bounce back season.
Yeah.
All right, with my next pick, I got Zeke and Ingram now. I feel pretty good about my running back situation. I got 3 wide receivers, but I was hoping that one of those tight ends would fall to me. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But I'll take the next best one right now. It's Tyler Eifert to continue this little tight end run we have going on.
I already took Eifert.
Oh, you already did. When was that?
That was that? 6 with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Scratch that. we're gonna reroute this one then. Instead, I'm gonna take Emmanuel Sanders. I think that he can end up being the best wide receiver on that team this year. He's going in the 6th round. I like the value I can get out of him.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Cause he's a guy that I'm targeting in a lot of drafts because he's going at a better value than Demaryius Thomas, and that he could essentially, I think that he could actually end up putting up better numbers than Demaryius Thomas under the right conditions this year.
All right, so this is my pick. This team, I've already got Lamar Miller, Marshawn Lynch, Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Greg Olsen. Derek Carr's sitting there. That's a little intriguing for me. I think I'd rather wait and go ahead and get somebody good for my flex here. I would have taken Emmanuel Sanders, but he's off the board. I'm not a huge believer in Dante Moncrief. I don't really like – there's a team I just drafted for my 3rd team where I had Tevin Coleman in my flex. I really don't like having running backs in my flex. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Stephon Diggs here. I just think his PPR value is really high, and I feel good about him in the 7th round, or in the 7th round, or into the 6th round.
If you're going to reach for somebody like that, get a guy with a lot of talent like Diggs. It's a good player to reach for.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
All right,
so
going here. Going here at the 6'11". I think I'm still looking for another wide receiver, but I am a little bit worried now about the running back position because of the scarcity that we have at the position. So I'm kind of looking here, and it feels like every running back that I could pick right now would be a reach.
Tough position to be in. Hello?
Yep, you're up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally cut out for a second. Who'd you pick?
I took Willie Snead.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah, I think it's totally cut out. Okay, all right. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a reach, but not too much of one. I think that he's actually a really good pick. So here, this team has two glaring needs with David Johnson, Doug Baldwin, DeAndre Hopkins, C.J. Anderson, and Julian Edelman. I'm feeling pretty confident about both groups, wide receivers and running backs. So I either have to take a quarterback here or take a tight end, I think, and I'm going to go ahead and take Carr.
That was a quarterback that I had an eye on for, I think, like the 4 spot, and it's unfortunate he's gone already. And that will include our 6th-round mock draft here. We'll do the other 6 rounds probably tomorrow night. Which team do you guys feel most strong about?
I'm not sure. For me, I'm liking the team that I picked with first, probably. Yeah, I'm going to go with the team I picked with first. I don't have a quarterback yet, and those are normally the teams I like the best because I get my skill position players. I've got Lamar Miller, Marshawn Lynch, Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill, Greg Olsen, and Stephon Diggs. So I like that a lot because I've got a lot of reception monsters. So I think I'll get a lot of those. And, if Marshawn Lynch has a good season, I think this could end up being my best team.
Keegan, what about you? What's your favorite team?
I was just looking at it, and there's really I really like what I did with a lot of these teams. I mean, I'm really balanced. I think the one that really stands out to me, though, there's some question marks on a lot of these teams, and the one that I feel the most solid about is my first team, David Johnson. You obviously know what you're getting with him. It's been well documented that they're even talking about maybe getting him 30 touches a game, which I think is fantastic. He's a championship winner right there. You got Doug Baldwin, who I think I'm getting a pretty good value for. DeAndre Hopkins, who under the right conditions, if he can return to form, I think that's I got him for a good value as well. And C.J. Anderson, a guy that I was really down on originally, but I'm actually feeling really good about C.J. Anderson now because I feel like Jamal Charles could be a camp casualty, and I don't think that Devontae Booker is going to get the job done. So he could potentially be a workhorse and getting him at a really good value. And then I got Julian Edelman, who I'm not really too, I'm not too keen on, but he could again be very productive this year. He could be a wide receiver 2, at worst a wide receiver 3. And then Derek Carr. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with this team, is this a team that you would, because you'd be on the clock with the next show? Is this a team that you'd be thinking about looking for a tight end now, or are all the ones gone that you like and maybe makes you want to wait a little bit?
That's a tough one. I really like some guys that are going later. I like guys like Hunter Henry, Kyle Rudolph. So I'm definitely not. It's not crunch time for me to get a tight end right now. But because I'm really not that high on Martellus Bennett either. I'm actually not high on him at all. But I really like the makeup of this team. And Derek Carr too I thought was a great addition. I'm really glad he fell to me because I know Casey was about to take him, and I was really hoping that he didn't because. I really like what he does for this team.
Yeah, I think my favorite team that I picked was my first team as well, picking at the 2 spot. Obviously, I got a 3-headed monster in Bell, Gronk, and Rodgers. Like I said earlier in the show, I think that with that combination, that could potentially win you a league. I know I am a little bit weak at wide receiver, but I tried to grab some guys that will see a lot of targets, like Golden Tate could get 100 catches, Larry Fitzgerald can get 100 catches. I like the upside of Snead. I already got my quarterback and tight end out of the way, so pretty much from here on out, I'm just looking at wide receivers and running backs, just looking to gobble them up.
I can dig it.
All right, so that will include the first installment of our mock draft. We will try to continue this tomorrow. We'll do another 6 rounds, and then we'll give like our one dart throw, and then we'll explain who we'd take at quarterback or kicker and a defense, and then we'll have another show recapping it all. Sound like a good idea?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yep.
All right. That'll pretty much do it for today's show. If you guys like listening to this, please leave us a review on iTunes and subscribe that shit. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks for tuning in.